We're on. Hey, how we all doing? This is Kevin, Kevin Coble, back in Bonnie Doon, Local Fat. I am back, and we're going to make this one a down and dirty little number today. So, sorbets. Here we are. We're going sorbets. Dogs, quiet, please. I have some audience members that are a little rambunctious. Okay, so today we're going to work on sorbets, and there's a lot of different stuff going on. I don't know if you check this out or not, but online there is 1,000 videos for how to make sorbets. Everything from taking a strawberry, pureeing it, or throwing it in the freezer, pureeing it, calling it a sorbet, to people adding yogurt and all kinds of different stuff to it. What I want to do is I want to give you guys the basic deal here, how to make a classic sorbet. And let me preface this by saying, long time ago, a classic sorbet actually did have cream, so for whatever it's worth, but they don't anymore. So the classic version of sorbet right now is fruit-based. It's a frozen fruit dessert. It should always be gluten-free. Hello. It should always be dairy-free. Hello. It should be these things. We do not need to make this complicated. There's only a couple of ingredients. In this case today, we are going to take a mix of berries and black fruit that I got from all over a couple different farmers markets and such. Obviously, berries aren't huge right now, but Swanton, right up the coast, there's strawberries, which this predominantly is firing at all cylinders, pretty much at all times. So we're going to make a berry sorbet with a little twist to it, and this little twist is kind of important because when I do sorbets, I almost always do this for sorbets because it adds an element to it that really kind of delivers on the acid front, and it doesn't taste like lemon because let's be honest, every single recipe out there tells you to use lemon juice. Vinegar, you guys. Vinegar is one of the best things for berry and fruit sauces and all kinds of different stuff. So in this case, I have a little bit of a Cabernet vinegar. And hand up in the audience. I'm sorry. Yes.
So when you're making sorbets, is this all like we can do it right on the spot? Or do we have to do preparation before?
Oh, well, it's at least 12 days of preparation before. I mean, you have to grow the fruit. Watch the, no, dude, you do it right now.
We do it right now.
We do it right now. So in this case,
we say, hey, let's make a sorbet. What's our time period?
I kind of feel like this is a bait, you know what I mean? Husbands out there, do you understand what's going on here? If I say, oh yeah, it's immediate, then from now on, I'll be laying in bed and she'll be like, I feel like a blueberry sorbet. Can you just knock one out?
It's not that bad.
Yeah, okay, anyway. So to answer your question, yes, they're really fast. There's really two styles and two methodologies. There's the cooked version and the uncooked version. Much of the time, I do the cooked version. The only reason is because cooking the fruit adds a nuance to it that maybe is a little bit less discernible and a little bit more unique. However, you don't need to, and in this case, I'm doing a raw version so we can apply the KISS method. If you guys catch my drift, do you know what that means?
No, I want to hear.
You don't know the KISS method?
I'm doing the audio visual here and I missed the whole thing, so update me.
Keep it simple, stupid. This was like first rule in cooking school. That's KISS method. Anyway, I'll tell you the second rule later. That's a little private. Okay, so all right, so we have pureed fruit. That's it, right? Pureed fruit.
And so those are strawberries?
Strawberries, blackberries, blueberries.
Oh, okay.
A couple apricots from your tree. So
okay.
We got kind of a whole mix match of stuff in here. So we just have pureed fruit. It's raw. It's in a bowl. That's it, right? Then we have a simple syrup. And now I'm doing a simple syrup because I am doing a raw version. If I was doing a cooked version, I would take the berries or the fruit, water, sugar, put it in a sauce pot, cook it till it was all kind of cooked down, jammy kind of real delicioso, and then puree it, right? But in this case, raw puree, we're gonna add a cooked simple syrup. Simple syrup, for those who are unaware, not in the know of simple syrup, it is equal parts of water and sugar, brought up to a boil, just to dissolve, turn it off. A little trick of the trade on the simple syrup, a couple drops of lemon juice or vinegar or something to acidulate the water is what the technical term for it. Stops it from any potential crystallization around the outside, which gives you a grainy kind of flavor. So, simple syrup, equal parts sugar, water, a couple of drops of acid, not that kind of acid, and dissolve it, turn it off. All right. Once we have our pureed fruit, we're going to add simple syrup. The thing that makes a sorbet work, let me go backwards. The thing that makes a sorbet work is its viscosity before you turn it, before you freeze it, right? That viscosity is measured in a unit called Baume, which nobody uses anymore because, well, unless you're in like some fancy schmancy place. But I have my own Baume meter, which a lot of people already know about, but this is the best Baume meter in the world because it is so ridiculously consistent. So all we're going to do is we're going to take our thick blob of pureed fruit. You can see the pectin already at work in it. That's why it's thickening up so much. We put it in a container and we're gonna add simple syrup to it. How much do we add? Well, thank you for asking me.
I'm not participating a little bit.
My production assistant is asleep at the wheel. Okay, anyway, so we're going to add some. Now, the only reason I'm telling you some is because there is a thickness that we're shooting for here.
So if we don't have this fancy machine, can we talk about this machine?
We will in 1 minute. You're sidetracking me. So here's the deal. When we're trying to determine the right thickness of the sorbet, we're using this egg as our meter, right? Like I said. So I added some simple syrup to this mixture. So far, that's all that's in it. I'm going to drop the egg in there. And what happens is what? It disappears. It's gone. Where's the egg? All right. So what you want is you want that egg to start to float, to come up, break the surface about the size of a quarter. So now, here we go. We're going to add a little bit more until the egg starts to float. And if the egg doesn't float, I'm quitting and I'm walking off the camera because it always floats. Almost. What's going on?
It's not, it looks like it's floating.
No.
No?
I think we have a defective egg. Hold on, everybody. Oh, actually, it's not defective. It does need more sugar. Okay, so we're almost there. We're almost there. Yeah. I think I might have, egg is almost there, and I don't have the right size container. Grab me a larger container. So, pectin at work. See, this is why I do this kind of stuff live, because what ends up happening is I show you, anyone shows you how to do it at home and says, look, it's perfect. It never, ever, ever works like that. You have to figure this out on your own. So right now, I had narrower, please.
Hey, I'm doing the best.
All right, narrower, please. So the egg is almost there. It's right below the surface, but it's not up yet.
Will that work?
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. So the idea is that we need to make sure the viscosity of the mixture, try not to break the egg. Okay. I'm gonna wash my egg if you don't mind. Oh!
It's
Okay,
floating. Awesome.
it's floating. So the problem was I had too much mixture in there. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this?
I'm going to zoom in on that. Can you tilt it a little bit?
How about tilt the camera? Just a tad. So people can see the surface of the egg. Can you see that? Popping through? Can you see it? Yeah? Okay, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more because I want that a little bit more. There we go. So we have the size of a quarter sticking out, right? You can put the camera back. One. Okay, so maybe I'll just have a little sip.
Okay, now you're on then.
Okay, so now that we got viscosity about right, I'm gonna pull the egg. And I'm going to add a splash. And when I say a splash, I mean like, for this amount, you're talking about a quarter to a half a teaspoon of vinegar. And then I'm gonna add a couple black peppercorns. You don't want it super strong, so like 2 or 3, that's all you're gonna do, right? All right, so this would be, after you adjusted flavor, maybe a pinch of salt, stir it up a bit. Actually, think that tastes pretty good. You wanna try it? No?
Sure.
No, never mind. No, here, you try it. Tell me if it's got enough acid in it. But so after it sits for a minute,
Maybe a little more.
a little bit more vinegar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah?
You know, I guess I'm looking for that punch.
She's always looking for something. All right, so here we go. We're gonna add a little bit more. You didn't know? We're making kombucha sorbet. All right, so once we have this stuff in here, that's done deal. Now, all you're gonna do is you're gonna turn it. You're gonna open your pantry and you're gonna plug in your fancy Italian ice cream churning machine, throw it in and call it a day. Right?
What is the name of that machine? We've had that machine forever.
I don't know. I know it's Italian, but
Yeah,
I have no idea. There's a lot of them on the market. I know DeLonghi has one too.
Right.
They're convenient. They're not super expensive. They're $300 give or take, right? I've had this one for going on 11 years now. It's been a long time. But you don't have to use a machine. So here's the deal. Oh, you need to run and grab that other one real quick. Out of the freezer.
Me to leave?
Yep. Actionel. Vas-y, dépêche-toi. Okay. So what I did was I took one of these and I still freezed it. Still froze. Whatever. English was my first language. So I put it in the freezer and I froze it. Now, if you don't have a machine, you can do this. And you just basically freeze it. And then when it comes out, if you've got a really hardcore potato masher, you can do that. Or if you've got a little Cuisinart at home, you can definitely do that, which is ideal. The only downside about doing that is the RPM of those blades is so fast that it sometimes incorporates air. You'll lose some color. It'll get a little ice creamish, if you know what I mean, right? It's not ideal, but it works, and it saves a whole bunch of elbow grease, if you know what I mean. If you have one of these things, it's fantastic. So this one I have on, by the way, and I don't know if you guys can tell what color that is, but it's brown. It's basically perfect. So here we go. Here's one of those. This is what it is when I still froze it. It's almost frozen. It's been in for about an hour. But basically, I could take this thing. You can see it's pretty solid. I could take this guy right now and mash it up pretty well, and I'd be able to turn this into some okay boules for sorbet. It's not an ideal world. It's a little dense, right? But if you took this and put it in there and just pulsed it for a second, it would severely help your situation a lot. So anyway, that becomes that. This one we're going to talk about in a minute. And then I've got some other ones in here that we're going to, would you mind grabbing those for me? Those 3 that are in there? And then, was that a problem? No. Watch out for that thing. It jumped out in front of you. Did you see that? Okay. So I've got 3 sorbets that I made. And I'm going to give you an example. I made each one of these in, I think all 3 took me an hour yesterday. So excuse all the paper and plastic. But it'll give you an idea. And so we have 3 different kinds. And let's start with this one. They're a little soft because I don't have a freezer here, but they're going to work just fine. You can see this is real, it's kind of a pretty color. Dragon fruit and mango. This is some of that leftover roasted sweet potato that we did last week. I took some of this with lemongrass. So it's a lemongrass and sweet potato. And then this guy was nothing but coconut milk and star anise. Okay, so a lot of Asian kind of stuff, but that's just because that's how I was rolling yesterday. The cool thing about doing these is you can do them weeks in advance, keep them airtight, they last, they're no dairy, they have, I don't know, a little bit more unique kind of attributes. So what you do, here's the big thing about sorbet, presentation. So on that note, my very, very beautiful and fantastic, yes, Renata. No, I'm sorry. She, right overhead. My very, very beautiful and Australian friend, Vanessa from Cameron Marks, has loaned me these beautiful Quinto. It's like a Japanese glass. These things are awesome and they're beautiful for sorbets.
They're so beautiful. Yeah.
So in this case, let's start with this guy first. And the reason I want to do this is because there's some other things that you can do.
So this is just the puree. Let's just kind of recap how we got to where you're at right now.
Yeah, so this is just roasted sweet potatoes with simple syrup and lemongrass, right? That's it. That's all there is to it. And I don't have one of the really beautiful one of the very beautiful little smaller versions of this. This is a little grande. So, as an example, with this sweet potato one of the things that I did is I took the skins off the roasted sweet potatoes, caramelized some sugar to make this like a little crackling thing. This is a really nice sort of little addition, right? It's got texture. You're using the skin. It's kind of cool. All right. So here's that one. Then the coconut one.
And it's coconut and...
It's all it is coconut milk. And we're going to do 2 bowls on this one. Coconut milk and star anise. You know what star anise is? Mm-hmm. Was that a yes?
It is a yes.
Okay, and then I'm going to skewer 2 bowls with 1 piece of rosemary to hold them vertical. And the last one we're going to keep dead simple, which is our dragon fruit. Now, you guys, while I'm doing this, please remember the reason why we're doing this. We are trying to help out all those wonderful folks at Team Kitchen in Santa Cruz who, to this day, are going crazy trying to help. What a mess. You know what? Trying to help everyone by delivering food and being a culinary support in the community.
We need to add a freezer here, obviously.
We need a freezer big time. But you know what? No pressure, right? Okay. So this chocolate one, I wish it was ready.
We'll send photos.
So chocolate, cocoa powder, little whiskey.
Can you promote what whiskey did you use?
That whiskey is one of my favorites right now. Sean Venus from Venus Spirits. Okay, you guys, here we go. Here is some down and dirty sorbets. Very easy, I hope, even though I do a lot of talking. Teen Kitchen, don't forget about them. Keep in mind, all this stuff is accessible. Well, coconut milk, maybe not so much. Farmers markets, it doesn't matter what the fruit is. It doesn't matter anything. What really counts, you're supporting local fresh fruit, vegetables. That's a whole nother thing we can talk about as savory versions, but you know.
Let's also talk about what's coming up.
What is coming up?
Potentially our Puerto Rico little experience. It will be an experience and a culinary one at that as
so
well.
We're going to step off the grid a little bit coming up very soon with a Puerto Rican friend of mine.
We're going to convince her, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Well, if we have the right rum, she'll show up.
Well, she'll
Pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it'll be badass. She's awesome.
She's now an attorney. Almost. She just graduated law school. Amazing.
We're gonna bring an attorney here.
It'll be okay. It's all good. It's all good.
Gotta put some stuff away. All right, you guys, have a good weekend. Thanks for showing up.
And happy Mother's Day. Don't forget your mom.
Happy Mother's Day. Yeah. This would be a great thing. Gentlemen, children, come on. You can knock this out really easy. You could do it tonight or tomorrow, and you'd be solid for Mother's Day. So let's talk about that, shall we? Have a good night. Thank you, everybody. Cheers. I think we're just going to eat these.
Yeah, that was good.